James Joyce was born Roman Catholic. He was born into the Roman Catholic Church, but he became disaffected by the church in later life. And when someone asked him to describe his impression of the Catholic Church, he was quoted as saying, "Here comes everybody." And he didn't mean that as a compliment. He actually didn't mean that as a compliment. It was more along the lines of, "Oh, here comes everybody." Unwashed masses, saints rubbing shoulders with sinners, an unfiltered dose of the human race, straight up from Chaser. Joyce said that in the early 1900s, and he actually wrote a short story with that title, but he said that in the early 1900s, and it's still true today. It's still true today. When we think of the Catholic Church, we have to think, here comes everybody. Because the Catholic Church is still the most diverse religious institution on the face of the planet. We all know Catholics come in all shapes, sizes, and colors from all walks of life, representing every social, political, and economic background, speaking all of the world's major religions. When you think Catholic Church, you have to think, here comes everybody. Even here in St. Paul, if we look around, if we look this way, you'll see that Catholics come from everywhere. You know, we human beings have never needed God or religion to teach us how to discriminate against each other. Sometimes we use it as an excuse, but we never needed God or religion to teach us how to discriminate against one another, or how to form exclusive communities and cliques. And Jesus did not have to come down from heaven to teach us how to determine who is in and who is out. Unfortunately, we human beings are quite capable of doing that very well on our own. We don't need God to teach us how to do that. But what we do need God for, what we do need Jesus for, is to teach us how not to think in terms of the question from the gospel passage. Lord, will only a few people be saved? Sometimes I like to answer that question myself, but we really need to enter through the narrow gate. And I think the narrow gate in this case is learning how to embrace and include everybody in our goodwill and love, like God, like Jesus. Loving everyone without prejudice, not just the ones we think are deserving of being loved and included. That is very difficult. That is very difficult, and I think that's what we all come here on Sundays to try and enter into, that narrow gate. It is very difficult. Another of Monsignor Court's favorite sayings, so much so that a parishioner from this parish did a needle point of it for him and hands in the kitchen in the rectory. It says, love is a H blank 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 lot of work. True words have never been needle pointed or stitched. It is hard and at times agonizing work to learn to love. But it is the most important word Christians can expend energy trying to accomplish day in and day out. Love is why St. Paul Parish is here. I'll go out on a limb and say, it's not even about social gatherings or money or even mass. Hear the parable that Jesus gives us. We ate and we drank together with you, and you taught in our streets, and yet you do not recognize us. Learning how to love is why we are here. Striving to enter through the narrow gate, striving to allow a fragile piece of wheat and a sip of wine for some of us just once a week, with nothing more than insubstantial words prayed over them, to transform us into living, breathing sacraments of God's love. Everybody, everybody. striving to enter through the narrow gate, is here in our church described as, here comes everybody, and not being embarrassed by that. And even seeing that as a source of strength and pride as Catholics. Because what it says isn't, here is a community that actually and authentically reflects God's love for all people.